Hello, Mr. Doherty. Thank you for this opportunity. Yesterday, during the briefing at the Foreign Ministry with Arat Mirzoyan, Mr. Mirzoyan spoke about the launch of the Armenian-British strategic dialogue. For the first time during these last 30 years, more than 30 years of independence of Armenia, actually we heard and learned for the first time that Great Britain and Armenia, London and Yerevan have plans of signing a partnership agreement. So please tell us what did change in Armenia from the point of view of Great Britain and what's on your agenda during this visit.
Well, thank you for the question. And yes, we were very pleased yesterday to discuss the strategic dialogue that we will have between the United Kingdom and Armenia. I'm very pleased to be here on a two-day visit to discuss this. And we think this will be an opportunity to really talk about and progress all of the wide range of bilateral issues that are important between us, whether it be trade or commerce or security. We think to have a mechanism like the strategic dialogue to deepen our ties and to ensure that we have a good platform for developing our very important bilateral relationship. We're very pleased to have announced this, and we look forward to the details of this arrangement being formalized later this year.
Great Britain is known as a close ally of Turkey, at least in the perception of the people living in Armenia, and Armenia has no diplomatic relations with neither of this country. Do you think that this might hinder the development of the relations between Armenia and Great Britain or not?
Well, it shouldn't do, and I think what you're right to state that we of course have very strong alliances with Turkey as a fellow NATO member, and with Azerbaijan as a close partner, especially with regard to energy. But those relationships shouldn't hinder our having a very deep and meaningful relationship with Armenia. I think we, with regard to our foreign policy, do have a very, very ambitious and active foreign policy that is very energetic on the global stage.
And also in this region.
Yeah, indeed. And we seek to engage in the Caucasus region. We want good diplomatic and good security arrangement through amongst all nations. And we have a balanced foreign policy, if I can put it like that. We want all partners and all nations to progress and benefit from peace, security and prosperity, because that's the best way that their governments can prosper and their people can prosper. And we note that when it comes to Armenia, that's really important because of your young democracy. You are an ancient nation and an ancient civilization, but with a young democracy, and we believe that the flourishing of that democracy is hugely important.
So, as we talked also about the relations with Azerbaijan, relations of Great Britain with Azerbaijan, I have to ask about the BBC's recent investigation. According to the journalist, the British famous businessman Javad Marandi played a key role in the withdrawal of millions of dollars from Azerbaijan, and the BBC says that he is also a major donor to the ruling party of Great Britain. So probably this was a political scandal in Great Britain, but in Armenia people are anxious and worried that London supports the authorities of Azerbaijan as the ruling party received donations from this money. What's your comment on this? Are you aware of this story?
I know nothing about the individual concerned, and I therefore wouldn't comment on the story that you mentioned. I mean, of course, broadly, when it comes to the Caucasus region, we have active relationships, and we do have an important relationship with Azerbaijan. That's no secret, but that allows us to play a diplomatic role in urging a peaceful resolution of the conflict. So we regard that actually as a strength, not a weakness, and we have a fully transparent and progressive foreign policy.
Let's talk about the conflict in a minute, but before that I want to ask about another concern in Armenia about Great Britain. There are British companies that are actually involved in Karabakh mines. And as the conflict has not been resolved yet, and these mines are under the control now, actually are under the control of Nagorno-Karabakh authorities, and British Open Democracy 2 years ago had an article writing that London was in regular contact with Anglo-Asian mining company before and during the war, and that company expected to benefit from these lands and from these mines. Are you aware of this story? And
I'm not aware of the details, and I reject any of those accusations, frankly. As I said, we have a transparent foreign policy, and our government has nothing to do with commercial operations in this country or any other. And I think what I would say is I commend the fact that Armenia is part of the Extractive Industries Transparency International. I think that's a good metric for assessing whether or not extractive industries are fulfilling their duty. But it's frankly not a matter of the government. We're not involved in any way, nor should we be.
Now let's come to the Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict. Now Yerevan and Baku continue negotiations. They have active meetings in different parts, in Moscow, in Washington, D.C., in Brussels, etc. London is not directly involved, but are you ready to interfere, and if yes, in what way? Well,
we will support. Of course, we fully endorse the EU-US mechanism that we hope is making progress. You will have seen the recent statements and the visits to Brussels by your leadership and others. So we entirely support that mechanism. And of course, we are ready, we stand ready to support diplomatically when it comes to working with neighbours in the region. So I think we do, whilst we're not directly involved in this structure, we do have an important role, because we do believe that it would be of great benefit to all of the peoples in the region for progress to be made towards peace.
And let's speak about the situation around the Lachin corridor. The UK has called to open the road, but these urges don't have any results, and the corridor is closed for more than 5 months. Even the decision of the Court of Justice did not change anything. As Great Britain is a close ally of Azerbaijan, do you think, apart from these urges, there are any leverages that can be used to push Azerbaijan to lift this blockade and to open the roads for goods and for people, and to also take away maybe the checkpoint?
Well, we have made the case to Azerbaijan to take steps to ensure that the free flow of people and goods can be fully resumed. And I think our judgment is that it's through a broader settlement that progress will be made in this regard. But we also note the important humanitarian impact that this situation is having. I think that's just another reminder as to why it's so important that a broader, bolder resolution can be found. And we hope that leaders across the region can have the courage and the resolve and the audacity to seize the opportunity to make peace and improve the lives of their respective populations.
Do you expect this to happen soon?
Well,
because you talked with Mr. Mirzoyan and today with Mr. Pashinyan.
Well, I've had very interesting conversations with your Prime Minister and your Foreign Minister. Of course, we're very encouraged by their approach in terms of their desire to see progress towards peace. We note their democratic mandate, and we applaud their approach to internal reform. You know, these are leaders that want to ensure that they have a democratic, transparent and progressive government that delivers peace and prosperity for their population. We applaud that. So let's hope that progress can be made. But of course it will require determination and courage from all political leaders right across the region.
From Yerevan and Baku?
Absolutely, yeah, and beyond probably, yes.
And probably beyond. And my final question is about visas. You spoke about the strategic dialogue between the two countries. For Armenian citizens, in order to apply for a UK visa, they need to pay more than $200, and wait for months. This is a big amount of money in Armenia, and many, especially young people, avoid visiting Great Britain because of this fee. Don't you think that the facilitation of visas and also visits is important for the dialogue between the two countries?
Well, you're right. It is very important, and that contact between, especially young people who may come just to travel or to study or to indeed work, is hugely important, fostering strong bilateral relations. This, I think, could be something that we might discuss. It might be one of the components of the strategic dialogue, the mobility of people. And that's why I think it's very good we have this kind of platform to discuss the movement of young people. And I'm sure perhaps you're trying to, perhaps you yourself might take advantage of this and come and carry out your journalistic duties in London. But we recognise that it's very important. And of course, there is a very, very active Armenian diaspora, not so much in the UK, but in the US and other European countries. So those people-to-people links are hugely important. And it is something that we would like to encourage more of.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.